I think he's awesome. I think he is the one that allows us to do what we do on an everyday basis. I definitely believe in God and there is a God.
Well, I know it's a higher power. I was raised in the church, so like I believe in it. I'm not really. I think as I grew up, I became like distant from my religious beliefs and whatever. But I still believe.
I think that everyone should have their own open opinion of God. I don't believe that God would want someone to be like, oh, you have to believe me this in this way, or, I'm your leader and you have to follow me. I think that everyone should have some kind of concept of God just because it gives you something along the lines to like follow in your daily life.
He wants to be a father. He wants to be a friend. Like for example, if you used to have a child, a son or a daughter, like you would want to like protect them, provide for them, and be there for them. So I believe that's what God, that's what He wants.
What do I think about God? Well, I believe in God, and I'm Catholic. I've been born and raised Catholic my entire life. I'm constantly trying to grow in a more of a relationship with Him, if that makes sense to somebody who doesn't believe in God might not really understand what a relationship with God might mean. And that to me that means talking to Him, because it's not just enough to believe in God. If you believe in God, at least from the Christian perspective, you have to also have a relationship with Him, because that's through the Bible. We've come to believe that Jesus is God and that we know God through Jesus. So basically, and He asks us to have a relationship with Him. So yeah.
Think about God. He's my father. He's everything.
I don't personally believe in God as in the Western sense.
About God? Personally, I don't believe in one. I believe in there's a higher power, but I don't believe in the religious base of there being a God.
Like, to be for real, I never really thought about like making a big issue about what's the big deal whether you do or do not believe in God until the whole like 9/11 thing. It's sort of like, it's really powerful to sort of think of all of the different things. Not only it teaches you just about morality when you learn about God and you learn about Christianity, but also sort of the fact of the sacrifice that He was willing to make for everyone. I don't think it should ever be something that's sort of like made fun of. I feel like, especially when you go through those younger years of like angst or like disbelief, it's really easy to sort of make a joke about it, or sort of play things off like it doesn't really matter. But when you get a little bit older, it starts to matter a little bit more.
A huge role. Everything that I am is because of God, and all that He gives me, the breath that I breathe is definitely is by Him. So just through my family, like my grandma's a demonologist, so there's things that most people would dismiss, but I'm like, no, it's definitely there.
Like I was like my grandmother, she brought me in the church. I was like a part of everything. My father's very headstrong. He's an usher. He takes that very seriously. Every day I try to pray. If I don't, I know like when times are hard, I know I can just pray and just talk or whatever.
Well, I've lost a lot of family members due to cancer or other things like that, and just knowing that you have a God to go to gives you a way better peace of mind than just going about it yourself. And, going to church might not be for everyone, and personally I don't go to church, but I still believe that I have a strong relationship with God just because of the way I go about my life.
Honestly, it played a heck of a role in my life. Coming from the west side of the state, Kalamazoo, Michigan, and my mom and my dad, my biological mom and dad, divorced around maybe 14, 15 years old. And I kind of stepped up and played the man role in the house, and kind of looked for guidance, looked for advice, didn't really have anybody to go to. But I was always raised in the church, so I knew I could go to God. I was looked at God as a father figure, so that's what I did. God played the role in my life by basically being a father for me, and I don't know, encouraging me and uplifting me and giving me motivation to keep doing the right thing. So.
Well, I go to church every Sunday, so that's pretty obvious. I'm more, and it's also the community that I've come to grow and really establish around here. But it's played a factor in my life in a big way, I think, because last semester I really dealt with a lot of personal issues and my belief in God and just my community and my spirituality really helped me overcome a lot of personal issues. It also provides hope and a meaning for life that I really wouldn't otherwise have, because without a belief in God or something greater, there's really not a lot of reasoning behind what we do.
He plays a role in my life because he makes everything possible. He keeps me confident. He keeps me motivated to keep achieving things.
Frees up my Sundays.
I don't know, it made me less narrow-minded, because when I did believe in God as a child, it made me more narrow-minded, I guess, as in I would feel like people, I don't know, I would be more judgmental. Now that I don't, I feel like it's more better, I guess.
I think as far as, my own life, it affected me a lot just because being grown up, religion was sort of forced on me. So when I went through those years, I sort of pushed back away from it. Instead of pushing away from my parents or anything, I sort of pushed back against religion. And now sort of getting older, being in my mid-20s now, it's getting back into being a part of my life.
It hasn't, because I know that although we have good, we have the bad, and it's just a part of life, and you can't let things like that get the best of you. You just have to look and see that at the end of the tunnel is a bright light that is gonna rise.
I mean, I get stressed out, but like in all honesty, I do open up my Bible, because when I get really overloaded and stressed, I mean that's the only thing that's gonna keep me grounded.
Yeah, it played a big part because when you feel like you don't have nobody, the other person is God, because someone's with you. Someone is. If it's not God, you believe in something that's higher that you can vent to, and I take that as like gratitude. Like I appreciate that part. If anything,
I think that in everyone's life they will suffer. It doesn't matter if it's big things or small things, but I think that having a God or having somewhat of a belief in something higher than ourselves gives you the opportunity to open your mind to different things and to have sort of a sense of calmness that you can rely on someone else almost.
There has been times where it's challenging to even believe that there was a God, because it's like, why would God allow this to happen, or why would God allow that to happen? And if He loves me, why would I even be in the situation I'm in? So the suffering in my life has really been caused it to be trying to believe in God. But if you look at it from a different perspective, in those trying times, it's actually times where you're being made, and times where you're being forced to trust in something greater than yourself.
I think without suffering, you don't really know who God is. Suffering and God is probably a difficult topic, and not one I can really explain very well, but I definitely think that even though God allows suffering in the world, He doesn't necessarily want that for us. I think that God has given us free will, and I think that God has allowed evil so that we might determine for ourselves which path to follow. And because otherwise it'd be an enslavement to God, and with evil and that choice in the world, we have the option of opting out.
Oh, I have no suffering. I have none at all. I keep on motivating myself, and if I do get down, I just go to sleep, wake up and pray, and ask King to make things better. And that's it.
Generally, most things in life kind of come from suffering or cause suffering, so suffering just kind of is.
I would say that it wasn't more suffering, but more of education.
For me, I mean, everyone, for lack of a better term, everyone at times gets dealt a really bad hand. And you always are your own harshest critic, so you sort of take things hard. But I think for me, it was more seeing other people go through it that made it hard for me. Because being your own harsh critic, you can always be like, oh man, I deserve that to happen. That's no big deal. When you see your friends, especially when it's people you really care about, friends or loved ones, that really sort of like, how do you not have like an angry response, you have that whole, like, that cliche saying, like, why God, why, and I think that's sort of what started, that's probably what sort of started the push away from it in my teenage years was just like you'd see stuff around you that was bad happening, and not just to you but to other people. You're just like, wow, where's this awesome, where's this higher power that's supposed to be watching over us? It doesn't look like he's watching over us that much. But when you get older, you're like, wow, maybe I really needed to learn that lesson the hard way. Maybe I really needed to go through that. So you start to understand more what they tell you, like, when you do go to church, about like these tests that people have to go through to prove their faith.